Hello, everybody, and welcome to Module 5 of our Grant Writing Bootcamp. For those of you that have been with us throughout this journey from day one, congratulations, and we're pleased and hopeful that some of the information we've covered in this MOOC has been of assistance to you and will be helpful to you and valuable to you as you move forward in your journey to complete various grant applications and hopefully have success with those. What we're going to do in this video is twofold. In this module, we'll do two videos. One is I'm going to walk you through a bit of the peer review rubric and how our expectations are around some of that, and looking at linking that up with a grant application that was provided to us by Jenny, one of our friends in the MOOC world. What we're looking at with this, and then Aaron will do a second video that will actually walk you through the technical steps of how you can do the peer review and what to expect and how to navigate you through the technical aspect. The purpose of doing the assignment and the peer review are twofold. One is to provide an opportunity for you doing the peer review to see another person's have an experience with another grant application so that you can look at some of the things that we've discussed throughout the previous modules and be able to help you be a little more critical in how you evaluate theirs, and also so that will help you as you move and do some self-evaluation on your own future grant applications. The other area is to provide the individual who's done the grant application with some feedback and some comments for them to be able to consider for their future grant applications as well. We have probably a number of people that may be submitting a real application as part of their organization or something that they're looking to do in the near future. Or we may have other people that are simply doing this as exercise as part of the course requirements for the certificate. So in those cases, they may not have some of the information regarding boards of directors or financial statements and those type of issues. Don't worry about that. This is not really what the intent of this purpose was. It's really to see how you can work on some of the materials that we talked about and some of the concepts throughout the previous modules so that you can get some practical experience in completing a grant application and at least having hopefully a little more confidence as you go down the road to complete future ones. So you will come to a grant application peer review rubric, which Aaron will walk you through the steps how you get into that. Within it you will see 12 questions that will be asked there. There is a part that in there listed underneath the criteria. You will also see in there a part that says ratings. That is really just a comments section for that, and there is no point assignment when you look at that rubric. So just so you're aware of those, it's really for you to provide some comments to the individuals and to look at the grant application. And so it's simply a matter of putting your comments in that ratings box, text box there, and then saving that. And Aaron will walk you through those steps a little further as we go down the road. As I did mention, we've going to leave this up for a case study for you of the one from Jenny that she's submitted to us. It's a link. There's a link there to TD Canada Trust Community Giving funding module. A model that you could take a look at to get a sense of some of the criteria that they have established for the program. And she's made an application on here to look at doing a open online course very similar to the MOOC around some stuff for creating small business and around financial assistance with that. So I'm not going to go through a whole lot of detail on the application. You can certainly go through it, read it, take a look as if you'd like as well around some of the information that's on the TD website. But I just want to walk you through some of the questions within the rubric so you get a bit of a sense of what it is that we're looking for. So the first question is, how closely does the grant applicant meet the eligibility criteria? And from what I can read based on the information that I was able to get off the TD website and that's contained in the project here, is there's a good fit between the criteria that's been identified from TD Bank and that of the organization. So all of the basic stuff of, has the grant applicant provided their contact information? Yes, it's there. One of the things that I did note, and I wasn't able to go on and work through the actual grant application process for this one myself. There's a place where Jenny has attached the board of directors, and I would just, if that's not a spot within the application, I would just reference that within the first thing about organizational development, that would be up and coming. We've talked about in the course around having the tone and confident language. The tone in the application is good. I think it could be strengthened at time by being more direct or concise in some of the ways that they respond to some of the questions. There's a number of ifs in there under particularly some of the things of how TD could be involved that while you may not be able to or want to try and tie them into anything, you can look at rewording some of that stuff so it's not as much the ifs, or that kind of gives us that sense that we're not quite sure what's happening here. So the application is very neat. I did have a bit of difficulty at times trying to follow some of the response to the questions because I found that the actual response and the directly getting to the question was further in the response than really being up at the immediately addressing the question. Question number 5 in a rubric is how closely did the grant applicant adhere to the agency's application process? It appears that the applicant closely followed the application process. There were a few parts in there that indicated that TD wanted the applicant to indicate the specific amount of funding they were requiring and for what components. I wasn't quite able to find that within the budget, but once again, I wasn't able to go onto the whole website itself, so I'm not sure of some of the stuff between what they asked for in the online and what was in the documentation that I had to review. There was a similar question about whether or not they were a member of United Way or another aid program. Number 6 is how well is the project rationale laid out, and how well is the need for the project identified. The applicant and Jenny in this did do a good reference to small business startups within Canada in this instance with this program. It would be helpful, though, I think, if there was any data on specific areas or the knowledge that small business entrepreneurs may have identified needing assistance with in this area. The background of the organization was well contained in this. It gave a quick overview of what the organization was, what its goals were, its mission, and what it's trying to do. So that was very well done. How clear is the project description? As I read the application, I was able to get a general sense of what was going on, but I thought it could have been strengthened in some of these areas. For instance, I think it was question 3, when we asked to describe the project, I would probably start with something like, we are offering a 6-week massive open online course to assist individuals who are starting up or operating small businesses in Canada. Then follow that with the data shows that approximately 100,000 new small business startups annually that could benefit from materials and content delivered in the course. The course will consist of 6 weekly modules and focus on some of the following content. If you go and look at that question within the assignment, it takes me a while before I can get to that and actually get the 6-week course through another question that was answered not directly in that one. But it's always important to paint that picture for the applicant, for that grant reader as they go through it, and get that out there up front early on. So how does the budget link with the program description? The expenditures appear realistic. It may be helpful to give the reader a better idea of what some of the breakdowns are, or may be included in some of the things such as the course design or delivery, as they are fairly large. I think they're about $12,000 each in those. Also, as I think I mentioned earlier, TD did want to know how much they were being asked for and what components their money would be targeted to. So I would break down or reference that specifically in my budget. There also was a reference in the course of having possibly a course that would be delivered in both one module in English or one component in English, and possibly a second course being offered as well in French based on the availability of sponsorships. For the purpose of the application, I would probably focus my application on one or the other, as opposed, or say that we were going to do both, but I wouldn't want to leave the intent that we're only going to do this, or we're going to do this only if we get the other sponsorship. At the end of the day, I would probably just put one of those in. How clearly did the response to the questions answer the questions? The responses do answer the questions. However, as I think I mentioned earlier, sometimes it took me a while to get, and I had to work a little harder to get that information out. Um, Another one of those examples, I guess, was the question that was asked around, are there volunteer opportunities for TD employees at this project? And you could lead in with something like, we plan to use 8 to 10 national volunteers to respond to questions regarding materials and information throughout the course. This would provide a great opportunity to involve TD employees and utilize their experience, and then go on from there. It wasn't quite that direct within the response that I observed in the actual test document that we have here from Jenny. What did I like about the application? I think this is a great match between the organization and the grant agency, that being TD, and their objectives have just incredible potential. This could be, I think, one of those ones where you develop that relationship over the years with both organizations, creating that win-win scenario. It provides an avenue to not only engage some of the expertise of the TD financial folks, but there's an obvious link with some of their potential access to some of their programs, and a good fit with this organization doing some uh, open online course information around education, and particularly with regards to finances, everything from personal to small business, as I've talked about in this application. What would make the application stronger? In my view, the information that's contained with the application, most of it is there, but simply try and refocus some of the responses to provide greater clarity for the reader of the application. Remember, often the person who's reviewing our applications may be reviewing many of them. I think Jenny had mentioned this because it was online, when it was very difficult to create any kind of a relationship with the individual or the organization prior to developing the application. So it's just make sure that when we do answer the questions, and I would often say to people, don't just fill in the spaces, but make sure we directly hit the questions. And often the best way to do that is to look at what they've actually asked and just focus right on that. So, this is how we can help. This is how we can involve your employees. When we say about the description of the project, what is it? Give me that quick thing that lets me know what it is and how that project, so I get that picture right in front of my face before I start to go through, and so that I don't have to try and filter and try and figure out what it is that you're trying to say. So hopefully the rubric and this little bit of a case study here with the one project that Jenny submitted for us to take a look for will give you a better idea of what the peer review will look like. Certainly want to thank Jenny for taking the time to help us out with this and to give us an assignment or an application to go through and provide some feedback on. So that's it for my portion for this module. Aaron will be giving you a bit of a tutorial and walkthrough on how you actually access all the information from a technical standpoint to be able to complete the peer review, and how some of that works with the assignment. So in conclusion, I guess I hope you've enjoyed the course. It's been great from our experience to see so many people engaged and interested in this area, and hopefully it's been of some value to you and will help you as you move forward. So thank you, and yeah, it's been a great success, and happy grant writing.